How many memories do you have of childhood before becoming a teenager? I've got 9. Here are 2 of them. I'm about 6, running a bath in Hong Kong. My Chinese grandfather is sitting with me. Everything is calm. Gently, reflectively, he says to me, "You are quite an angry young man, you know." In the second memory, I'm about 12, a patrol leader in the Boy Scouts. My patrol has pitched its tent on a scrap of Hong Kong's sandy countryside. During the night, another patrol steals all our tent pegs. Our tent collapses. In the morning, I get my patrol to dig a defensive ditch. I line it with broken glass. Fortunately, no one gets hurt. Even so, it's a difficult scene. How is that young man going to grow up? Here's 3 answers, each one coming back to the scene I've just described. Totally missing from what I've described is any sense of humour. The 12-year-old sees no connection between a deflated tent and a deflated ego. He's oblivious to the hilarity of a defensive fortification so fierce that a rabbit could hop over it. Happily, the unfunny boy grows up to publish 2 novels, a farce and a satire, and another book described as profound, subversive, and often very funny by the Financial Times. So if one day you find, or are told, that you totally lack something vital for success or happiness, remember the power of personal growth. As a coach, I've never told my clients that anything is possible. My experience of life hasn't been like that. But more is possible than we dream of. I went to a school modelled on the English system. More than 50 years later, I will notice something profoundly odd about it. I turned out to be great at anything which involved words, symbols, and exams. As far as my parents were concerned, the more written exams, the better. If the school had offered simultaneous equations in football, who knows what might have happened? But it didn't. If exams are your thing, you can do a lot. I graduated from 2 well-known universities, learned about economics and leadership, got interested in psychology and psychotherapy, and trained as a coach. Finally, I did a doctorate in what became my special subject, picking people for senior positions. That doctorate showed me something life-changing. Missing from all of my education, which had gone before, was the study of power. That aha was the first intellectual domino to fall in my 50s. The new insights began in my subject area. I saw how the glass ceiling actually works. In fact, it's a consequence of not talking about power. I explain that in my book Elites, which earned the comment from the FT, which I mentioned earlier. In my 60s, I got the chance to discover what you can teach about power to 17-year-olds in school. That brought home the absurdity of the educational system, which I'd taken for granted. What on earth are we doing, bringing young people into the world with 0 teaching about power and slim chances of that gap being addressed through university, work, or management training? Life is full of human pullings and pushings, of tents collapsing in the night, and far more important acts of power. We could teach all of us to understand power safely, but instead we're educated to see no power, say no power, hear no power. My 12-year-old self had no clue how bizarre and dangerous that is. Margaret Thatcher's first year as leader of her political party was Mao Zedong's last as leader of his. That was the year I turned 18. Neoliberal individualism, Little Red Book communism, they look like opposites, but both see individuality in society as sworn enemies. Both double down on boundary thinking. Strong boundaries make you stronger. Say hello to one of the strongest political forces in my era. Something noble, precious, and profoundly alone draws a strong boundary around itself to repel enemies and contamination. In neoliberal individualism, the holy candle in the middle is your freedom to choose. In communism, it is the party. Growing up in a double bed with these two giants, by the age of 12, I had certainly mastered boundary thinking. Humiliated, I drew my 9-dash line, I seeded it with broken glass. Did I glimpse that boundary thinking was a mistake? No, but maybe I hoped it was. Why else did Ubuntu, a philosophy from Southern Africa, stick to me like a leech when I turned 30? Ubuntu says, a person is a person because of other people. Ubuntu says that far from being enemies, individuality and society are twins who can't survive without each other. I translate Ubuntu like this. Parts of you are buried in diverse others. Ubuntu doesn't mean be kind. It's a challenge to understand differently who and what you are, to see through boundary thinking, to jump over the broken glass, to grasp that deep connections with diverse others are the precondition of your own existence and fruition as a human being. What a lot of therapy, what a lot of care from other people, and what a lot of brain ache it took to get there from my collapsed tent. But my 12-year-old soul was hurting. That hurt, becoming a thirst, led me to a doctoral program in which individuality and society stand revealed as intimates, not opposites. And that led to the aha on power, which I mentioned earlier. Why I have only 9 memories of childhood, I can't be sure. My mother connected infant anger to medical complications which affected my birth, and as we know, mothers are always right. To her deep disappointment, although I love children, I never wanted to bring some of my own into the world. Instead, very shortly after Trish and I got married, South Africa, of which neither of us had any previous knowledge, moved into our lives and stayed. Ubuntu was part of the package. It gave me something beyond anything I ever dreamt of. Ubuntu changes what I wish for you. May you find more than you ever dreamed, especially the parts of yourself buried in diverse others. Part of me turned out to be buried in Southern Africa. There are other things which an Ubuntu poor society forces apart, but which belong together, like the ordinary and the extraordinary. I really hope you find, or better yet create, workplaces in which extraordinary achievement blossoms, but ordinary lives matter. I wish you the thrill of articulating your own take on the purpose of life, and I wish all 6-year-olds, 12-year-olds and 18-year-olds the world over, born in the coming decades, to be taught, as their human right, how to understand power safely. I think it's going to happen in the 2040s. When it does, how very odd the way we do things now will seem.